In the last portion of our previous class, we talked this issue, that is language learning theories. Language learning can be learned in three different ways. That means every language will have several views, and not only the English language, it is for all languages of the world. That means every language will have a structural view. The structure of a language will be quite similar to the structure of other language. And simultaneously there will be a functional view of every language. What is the function? First time we can understand that the function of language is to communicate with others. Okay? So structure will be common to every language, that's quite true. And that is also true that every language will have a function. What is the language? What is the function of a language? What is the importance of a language? You will say, oh, I can say hello and I can laugh with my language. That is, laughing is also a way of communication. So laugh, smile, everything will be the function of a language. Whenever you will be hungry, you will say, I am hungry. Whenever you will be tired, you will say, I am tired. It means that it will express the meaning, what you are ready to express. That means every language of the world will have a function. That is the functional view of a language. And the third one, that is the interactional function. That means you can tell someone whenever you will be hungry, you can go a nearby food shop and you can say, I am hungry and give me a piece of sandwich, please. Okay, so it is the functional view. That means function of a language will carry the meaning what you are supposed to express. But whenever you say, sir, I'm hungry, I want to have a sandwich and a cup of coffee, please. Coffee with milk or sugar. You can say, no sugar, only the coffee bean, please. No sugar, no milk. Only coffee bean I need because I have to pass a very tough day. That means I have to go and conduct my meetings or something else. So whenever you will be putting your order to the counter, then the counter manager will be telling something. That means what is your requirement? So this is also the function of a language, and that function is called interactional views of a language. These views, may I ask you, which one the important one? Interactional views. Actually, interactional views was not the important. Actually, all views are important regarding language learning theory, is it? But whenever we have understood that whenever the international communication, the international exchange between a person living in Bangladesh and a person living in America, that was increased. That means many people, for many reasons, living in Bangladesh, they want to go to America, and also simultaneously many people living in USA, they want to come in Bangladesh. So that interactional views of language exaggerated. That means I want to learn language, but if you say that you know a language, can you interact with that language? If you say yes, then means it will be meaning that you know the language, and that was increased. That has an increased demand of interaction through language and communication. That was the views, and that views came in discussion in linguists, in sociologists after 1980 decades. That views, that means we have to interact with other people using the language. And that became a chief issue of interactive views of language. Okay, so that views come, yes. Then what is interaction then? Interaction might be defined in such a way, that is, students achieve facility in using a language when their attention is focused on conveying and receiving authentic messages. Okay? In Mr. Bean's movie, all of you have watched that movie, isn't it? Mr. Bean doesn't speak a word, but sometimes he makes bubbling sounds. He makes bubbling sound. Okay, whenever you will be like that. Miming sounds. Okay, but with the help of his body movement, we can understand what does he mean exactly. Okay, if you go to a cloth shop and if you say what is, yeah, you are producing some sound, isn't it? But this sound doesn't carry authentic message. Authentic message will have to be conveyed. You have to convey the authentic message to someone else, and he or she has to receive the authentic message from you. Whenever the reciprocal of this authentic message will occur, that is interaction. Without that, the bubbling sounds and other sound cannot be called interaction. So what is the authentic messages then? Authentic messages are those messages that contain information of interest to both the speakers and the listeners. Okay, so if you put attention to the speaker, why? Whenever the speaker will be telling something important, yes, he's speaking something very important for us. Okay, so you have an interest to the speech delivered by the speaker, and if there is no information in the message or the speech is delivered by the concerned speaker, that message is a message, but that message is not an authentic message because that message doesn't have information of interest of you. Okay, so authentic messages, whenever both the speakers and and the listener should have a thing of interest. If you have interesting information in the message, then you will try to put focus on that speech delivered by the speaker. So that is authentic message. So conveying and receiving authentic messages are called introduction. Okay, so that is, and as we have said, the importance of interaction that increased towards the beginning of 1980 decades. Okay, so before that, grammatical point or some other things were important, but after 1980 decades, that interaction became very important for all sorts of language learners and teachers. So language teaching and learning through interactivity, it linked to teaching of reading, writing, speaking and listening. Interaction cannot be done using a single skill of a language. So you have to interact with others by your written speech and at the same time speaking speech. So you have to be master, a language learner or language teacher have to be masters in conveying authentic messages regarding all four skills of a language. Here, Carroll, Devine and Sky, 1988, they said that, observed that this notion of interactivity can be achieved by both of top-down and bottom-down processing in reading comprehension. Okay, as I have said, that we have to increase our interactivity between the language learners, among the language learners. So how we can get, as I have said, when interaction becomes the chief component for the language learner, that means every language learner has a necessity to create their interactivity through the language. Then this language linguists came forward and they offered that, yeah, how we can be the master of achieving the all four skills of language learning. They say that we can exercise the top-down and bottom-up reading comprehension, practicing top-down and bottom-up reading comprehension. So this is their approach. Why they do so? Because they understood that we have to increase their interactivity. So this is a proposal. When such kind of proposal will be there, then that proposal will be linked to an assumption. And if it is linked to an assumption, then what it would be? It would be an approach. Okay. So there will be, if there is an assumption, there is an imagination regarding the language learning performance, that would be calling approach. Okay. An approach will be implemented in method, and classroom activities will be the technique. So language learning planner or language teaching planner, or we can say linguist, they offered some method and approach getting the demand of the learners. And we have learned that at present, that means after 1980 decades, language learner demanded interactivity. So they say that this may be an approach to teach the language learner, that is all 4 skills of language. That means that will make the students efficient in effective communication or interaction. Got the point? Yes. Here, the Australian linguist Wilga Mary Rivers, she said that we will be not reading all details of it. Rivers was best known for the work in the field of foreign language acquisition and foreign language pedagogy. Pedagogy means methodology. Pedagogy means in which way language can be taught, in which way second language can be learned. These scholars, Rivers, actually not rivers like Padma, Meghna, Jamuna, right? As the Rivers, his name is Wilga Mary Rivers. So Rivers research a lot about the second language pedagogy and foreign language, promoting and popularizing a number of methods issued used in modern language teaching. And look the point, when demands are there that interactivity should be increased among the language learner, then such kind of language learner came forward. So Wilga said that yes, in composition to a popular audiolingualism in her contemporary era, Rivers advocated for a shift towards an interactive and communication-based method of language teaching. Again and again I have said that language learners, language teachers, language planner will be offering the ways and the approach based on the demands of the language learner, is it? Now language learner need introduction. So this Wilga Mary Rivers offered audiolingualism in a process that this will make the learner efficient in interaction and communication. Yeah. Some other linguists came out. Task-based language teaching. Whole language teaching. We don't know the term yet. Gradually we will be learning. But in this class we are getting a link. We are trying to get the link. What is approach and methods and why they are necessary. Most probably I have made you understood that why approach is necessary. According to the demand of the language learner, according to the necessity of the language learners. So Wilga Mary Rivers said that interactivity can be done by a process or a method that can be called audiolingualism. At the same time, some other method came after 1980 decades. What are the methods? Task-based language teaching, whole language teaching, neuro-linguistic programming, linguistic programming, cooperative language learning, content-based instruction are derived from this type of language learning through interactivity. So when the demand is that we have to be interactive among others, so all the methods and the approach came to us that yes, we can follow this, we can follow that, we can follow those in order to make the language learner interactive. Thus, interaction plays the vital role in language learning theory. We started that the language view is there, but here we see that language learning theory is also related to this approach, these views of language learners. Here we have talked about this, we can skip. And it can also be someone's phone is vibrating, it's not mine. Who put it in vibration mode? Make it silent, please. It can be said in other words. The interaction between reader and writer engage the text-based conversation. One approach said that yes, interaction can be done, or the learner can learn interaction through the top-down and bottom-up method of reading comprehension. How it can be explained in such a way. Whenever the reader will be reading a write-up, a reading comprehension or a text, what will be happening there? Between the reader and the writer engages the text-based conversation. Okay? So, if you read a reading document, what you will be, actually the writer you are reading, that is the thinking of the writer. So, whenever you will be reading that text, there will be a communication between the reader, that means you, and the writer who wrote the text. So, this is a way of getting link between reader and writer. And that is the thing, and how reading comprehension can be helpful for increase your interactive capability. This is one. That means you will need, actually you can make an interaction with the living person in front of you. You can say, hello sir, how are you? In this morning you are looking fat. Like that. So that is the lively conversation. But through the classroom, every time you can say only that you are looking fat like that. I love to see your smiling face, not like that. How many times you can say so? Okay. So there should be a technique involved. What is the technique? The reading comprehension. Whenever you will be reading the comprehension, that means there will be a linkage between the reader and the writer. And we have talked about this. These are the approach that they are initiated in language learning theories. Okay. So what we have learned previously, all the approach and methods are derived based on the necessity. So what does an approach do then? What does a method do then? Everywhere, in case of theory or question, in case of an approach or a method, there should be two views. What are the views? Number one, what are the psycholinguistic and cognitive processes involved in language learning? Okay, approach is a theory, method is the way. But if you initiate an approach, just like Mary Wilga Rivers said that yes, we can practice all skills. If you think that I will be offering an approach, you have to keep in mind two things. One thing, what are the psycholinguistics and cognitive perspectives of the learner? And the second one, what is the condition? What is the context? What are the conditions? Suppose you say that yes, this language learning approach will make the learner confident. Okay, it is the psycholinguistic approach towards the language learning process, is it? But if you put in the learners of a learner of 80 years of age, so physical features is a condition. If you put this approach in the open market class, not in the classroom, so there should be a condition. So what would be the physical condition of the learners? What would be the context of the language learning and teaching situation? You have to be understood that. So whatever may be, it may be an approach, it may be a method, especially the approach, we have to consider these two things. That means what are the psycholinguistics and cognitive perspectives in language learning, and what is the condition. What are the conditions that need to be met in order for this learning process to be activated. And language learning is associated in these two dimensions. One dimension, psycholinguistics, and another dimension is condition. What is the condition? In which condition you will be applying that? Process-oriented theories. There should be two kinds of language learning theory then. Some theories will be offering regarding the first one, the process. and the some theories will be offering you the second one, that means the condition. So process-oriented theories build on learning processes. Okay. As a habit formation, as induction, inferencing, hypothesis testing, and generalization. Actually, in one class I have said that, whenever I will tell you to do that, I can tell that yes, raise your hand. You will not utter the word, you will raise your hand. I said, no, not one hand, two hands. So you will raise the two hands. Okay, then I will say, walk a bit, then you will walk. I will say, go close to the window, then you are going, no, not shut the door, go close to the window. You can say that there is window there. Okay. What is the psychological involvement? Psychological involvement that if we perceive a language through your brain and without uttering the word, if you do it with the help of your action, that would create an effect of your brain. Another way of getting effect, that means memorization. Memorization, I have said, if you dream, if you repeat a word, okay, a dog is a food for the animal, dog is a food for the animal, dog is a food for the animal. Like that. If you tell it 100 times, it will get imprint in your brain. But psychologists say that if you do not utter, if you try to work according to the process, that means according to the command, then this way your brain will receive the language. That is the process-oriented linguistic theory. So language can also be done in such a way, and that theory is called total physical response. Okay, so that is the process-oriented theories. Got the point? And condition-oriented theories emphasize the nature of human and the physical context in which language learning takes place. So physical context and also the nature of human. So if we say that nature of human might be varied, some learners will be very active, or they can take any kind of challenge. Okay, just like that. If you want to go to St. Martin, you can go in 3 different ways. You can go there by ship, you can go there by trawler, you can also go there by speedboat. Okay, so whatever may be, whatever courageous you are, if you try to go through the speedboat, in some portion you will start crying, because whenever the tough wave will come and shuttle your speedboat, you will start crying. Okay, so all learners will not take the challenge of getting in the speedboat. Some will be, I will be safe, and I will go to the ship. Okay, it may be 3.5 hours, it doesn't matter. I will go enjoying the scenery of the sea gulf and everything, and I will go there. So it is the attitude, and it is the physical condition. Okay, so language learning will also be depending on the physical condition of the learner, or the nature of the human being, and also the physical context or the condition of the learner. So the approach and methods will be offering in such a way. So process-oriented language learning approach and condition-oriented language learning approach. So whatever may be in your mind, you can offer any kind of approach or method. You have to keep in mind these 2 ways. And the psychologists and the linguists, anthropologists, the social planners, everyone who promoted language learning theories and pedagogies, they had these 2 things common in their mind. Okay. Most probably it has got stuck. Okay, it has been done now. We have been accustomed to technology, is it? They can solve this. They can solve those. that I can solve this, because it has been an old computer and for this reason it is doing, and just like the train machine, it is not stopped. Every time it remain open. Just I do this and just. Okay, so take some time so that it will come. Yes, it has come finally. Yeah, so we had been talking about process oriented and Stephen Dr. Cashin's monitor model. He is an American educationalist. He said that he developed 1981 as an example of learning theory on which a method, that is natural approach, has been built. क्या चाहिए? Yeah. So Stephen Cashin, he said, everybody, don't make sound with your sandals or shoes. Okay, so Dr. Stephen Cashin, he has developed a theory. What is in our mind? That means in case of developed theory, there should be the process-oriented theories and also Stephen Cashin. I like him very much. If you get some time, we will watch his videos, okay, in a class. Stephen Cashin's monitor model, he said in a method, that is the natural approach. And he said that monitor theory addresses both the process and condition. Okay? So, Stephen Cashin developed a theory. That theory is called the monitor model. And the monitor model, that model is based on, according to Stephen Cashin, that based on the both process-oriented and condition-oriented theory. Why? How? According to Cashin, learning is available only as a monitor. And the monitor is the repository of conscious grammatical knowledge. What does it mean? Whenever you will be writing, if the monitor remains in you, you may make some mistake. And again, when you will be revising the part, you will again correct the mistakes. Same thing will be happening at the times of your speaking. You will speak, you will say, oh, this is some learners likes that. So you said likes. Again, you say, oh, sorry, some learners like. So at the time of writing, at the time of speaking, you will try to correct your mistake. That means you yourself monitor your language learning phenomena. So in such a way, grammatical mistakes he can monitor the grammatical knowledge about a language, and that is learned through formal instruction, and that is called upon in the editing of utterances produced through the acquired systems. Again, Cashin's theory also addresses the condition necessary for the process of acquisition to take place. Cashin described this term as a type of input. So he said that means you yourself will be monitoring the learner's process. At the same time, you will be receiving the language data, and this language data, according to Cashin's theory, is called input. Input means in which way you will be getting input. And in Cashin's model, input should be comprehensible. Comprehensible means readily, easily understandable, easily cognizable. How easily cognizable? Okay, you can say, yes, I am reading a book, it's written in English. So is it a comprehensible input because I am getting the linguistic data by reading this book? No. Actually, this cannot be called the comprehensible input according to Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen said that if you are stressed, then your learning will be less. And according to Stephen Krashen, there is an affective filter in every learner. And what is that? If you are stressed one, yes, I have to get 3.25 in CGPA in this course, and for this reason I have to read it very seriously. So it will create a type of mental stress on you. So if you are in a stressful situation, then language learning will not be occur. So that language learning will create impact on the condition of the language learner. So here he said that yes, less stressful situation. Yeah, suppose you are reading the favorite news of Chelsea football team. What Chelsea is doing? You are reading the page in newspaper, keeping your shoulder ahead on the bolster after getting your fighting it. Yeah. So you have put your backward in a bolster below, yeah, and then you are reading. What else you are reading? Manchester United football team, what is they are doing in the Guardian. So you are reading Guardian newspaper, and what is your thing? That is your favorite. And you can also see that yes, in this year, what is the famous book published by Prince Harry? So you are reading Prince Harry's book Spare, not for your examination. You are reading it for your interest. And that kind of reading is called comprehensible input. And that comprehensible input will help you to understand the language more easily, because there is no affective filter, there is no stress of affective. Okay? So in other case, input will have, what would be the input? Input should be I plus 1. What you know, always you have to get more than the existing knowledge of you. That is called comprehensible input. So Stephen Krashen's monitor model is based on a theory that can go to process oriented and also the condition oriented theory of language learning. And based on this approach, we have got that approach can be quite similar to the natural approach of language learning theory. And language learning natural approach has been discovered by Terrell's natural approach. That was 1977, and Krashen's book was published in 1981. So based on this method, that can quite similar to the natural approach of Terry Durham. Okay, Terrell. Okay, and another theory also, counseling language learning theory. The silent way addresses primarily with the condition held in the necessary learning of the language learners. So the process and audience. And the next time, Charles A. Curran, he proposed a language learning theory, that is the counseling language learning theory. Okay, so that was initiated in 1972. If you go a little bit more, then you will see total physical response. Where? In James Asher, and James Asher placed this in 1977. Okay, if we go back, we will see that Chalet get us go silent way. Okay, so and in such a way, whenever we will be getting the idea that how does language learner work and how does the language works to a human being, then this linguistic theory or approach will came in our hand. That is total physical response theory and counseling theory, whole language theory, natural approach. That is the approach that is linked to both the process-oriented theories and also the function or condition-oriented theory of language learning. Whatever the theory, it may be an approach, it may be an approach. It will be linked. What link theory with practice? What is called, we have called design. every approach and every theory or method will have a design. Suppose a plus b whole square equal to a plus b whole square equal to what? A square? Oh, easy. I forgot. Yeah. So every approach and every method will be following some structure. What are the structure? In every approach and every method there will be some structure. The first thing of the structure is the design. How this approach will work. The second thing is the learner's role. The third thing is the teacher's role. The fourth thing is the instrumental design. So if you work on GTM, if you work on audio-lingual method, whatever may be the approach, you have to keep these four items in your mind. What are the items? Design, learner's role, teacher's role, and instrumental role or instrumental design. Okay, so what is the design then? Design is the level of method analysis in which we consider several things. What are the objectives of the method? Okay? And how language content is selected and organized with the method. That is, the syllabus model of the method incorporates. So, syllabus of a language teaching is included in design. Then how and what materials you will be teaching over there. The types of learning task. Okay, in the syllabus, there may have some theories and there may have some practice. Okay, and what you will be doing. So theoretical perspective will give you the idea of process oriented, and the practice will give you the idea of product oriented. So the task, the types of learning task and the teaching activities the method advocates, the role of learners, the role of teachers, the role of instructional materials. So everything will be, so whenever you will be proposing a design or an approach, you have to keep this in your mind. Design, role of teachers, role of masters, role of learners, and the role of instructional design. Objectives, you know, what will be happening in case of learnings, yeah? Different theories of learning, language learning will require the different aspects. Okay, the specification of the particular learning objectives, however, is a product of a design. So the design will say that what would be the objectives of this method, what you want to teach. Suppose you want to teach only the grammar and the vocabulary. If you want to teach the students the grammar and vocabulary, there you have to design your reading materials. You can put the grammatical item and you can put the antonyms, synonym words, then also word building, word jobs. Okay, because your idea that you will be teaching grammar, so you will not be putting over their conversation because it is not in your design. You are trying to teach the students grammar, so you will be pointing the grammatical points and the vocabulary, antonyms, synonyms, numerous words, jargon, like that. Okay. So according to your design, according to your idea, the objectives will be and traditionally the term syllabus has been used to refer, your sentence has come forward. Traditionally the term syllabus has been used to refer to the form in which linguistic content is specified in a course or materials. So what you have said, you want to teach grammar. So in your syllabus, what you will be putting? You will be putting that sentence structure. Okay. Then also vocabulary. So sentence structure, vocabulary. Okay. Subject verb agreement. Okay. Correction of words, transformation of sentence. Because your view is what that you want to teach grammar, and what you want to teach accordingly you will put it in your syllabus. So syllabus is the arrangement of your teaching materials. That is syllabus, objective and syllabus. And suppose, just for an examples, a number of taxonomies of syllabus types in language teaching have been proposed. For example, Yelden, Long and Cox, Brown 95 list 7 basic syllabus types. Syllabus might be several categories: structural, situational, topical, functional, notional, skill-based, task-based. So this might be the category of syllabus. What you are intended to teach, you have to design your syllabus getting one of these criteria. You can pick one and you can design your syllabus. If you put notional, functional syllabus, then you will be putting some things. If you want to teach structure, then you will be putting this. So these are the idea of syllabus. And however, for the sum of the approaches and methods discussed in the book, we have had to infer syllabus assumptions since no explicit syllabus specification is given out of these 7 categories of syllabus. Suppose you want to teach language through silent way. We don't know yet, okay, but approximately I can give you a hint that the first class student will not hear. Yeah. Student will not utter any sentence. They will simply listen in the silent way. After getting the speaking, they will put their hand down on the table and they will take a nap. And then they will go out in the house without any homework. Next day they will come and they will try to produce their language. So if it is the process of teaching language, what would be the syllabus? Here, teacher will select the teaching materials. A teacher will select the teaching materials. Okay? So that is the way you can look over here. It is yours? No. The silent way. So particularly the syllabus will be designed based on the idea of the teachers, what you are supposed to teach the language learners. In which way you are supposed to teach, you have to design your syllabus in such a way. So if your design is based on these 7 categories of syllabus, well and good. There are so many syllabuses are there, you can download and you can follow one of them. But if it is your own way, then you can design your syllabus in your own way. So these are the category of syllabuses and the learner's role. Then what would be the learner's role? A method reflects explicit or implicit responses to questions concerning the learner's contribution to the learning process. Okay. Suppose I said that yes, total physical response I will be teaching. Okay. And I said that yes, jump. So whatever you are, you started jumping, okay, because it is a total physical response. You will show your action through the words. So, okay, oh, you started to jump, okay. Some students feel very shy actually. They will not jump. Whatever may be, in many activities, yeah, if you say that many learners will not looking to you at the time of your speaking, they will put their hand down towards the screen or towards the flat. Okay, what's your name? My name is Abdus. So every time he is talking to you, but not looking to your face, isn't it? It depends on that the learner is very shy. Okay, so if you want to put conversation, then the learners will not making eye contact to the learners. Okay, so a syllabus or design will be effective how learner will react to the lectures. Learner's role for this reason is an important factor in language learning approach and method, whatever may be effective or not. And this is mean that type of activities learners carry out. The degree of control learners have over the content of learning. Yeah, someone will be very efficient doing the activities. If you offer, poster presentation. Yeah, if I say that yes, yesterday next class you will be present your poster based on the idea of your language learning journey at Jagannath. Okay. Someone will come forward and carry out, they will make a very poster using jigsaw, several kinds of idea, inventing the idea. Okay. Then she will be putting. And someone other said, oh sorry, I have got the term first time in my life. What is project presentation and what is poster presentation? I didn't know. And he will stop or she will stop in such a way, oh, I don't know this matter, this is the blah blah blah, it's not necessary for me. And some other will say, oh, I don't know, but yeah, I can get the idea through the internet. So he or she will be sharpening to the internet and he will be idea. So there are three kinds of learners. One will be active, after getting the challenge he will try to jump over the challenge and try to get some result. Some category, they will be in a pessimistic mood, oh, this is not done by me. And some other will be in moderate. They will not get the idea, okay, doesn't matter, I don't know the idea, I don't know the thing, but I can learn it. Okay, so that is the learner's role. So whatever methods and approach, why we have so many methods and approach, I have said that yes, one method is not equal or common or effective for all language teaching, and all methods will not be applied for one teaching. So one method, one portion of one method might be effective for you, and another portion of the another method will be effective for others. But it's depending on the learner's role, how learner will be getting that things to you, and how the learner will be interacting to the other students, how the learners will be interacting with the teacher. So learner's role will be an important part of every approach and method. So learner is a processor, isn't it? That laptop is a processor, isn't it? A computer is a processor. So learner will be the processor of an approach, performer, initiator, and the problem. So that would be the effective role. And whenever we will be discussing an approach or a method, there you have to pinpoint what would be the learner role over there. Okay? So here, for general, learner will be the processor, they will be the initiator, and they will be the problem solver. There are some examples. Much of the, did you say something? Initiator, who will initiate? That means if you start a speech with a coughing, so it is your initiating cough. Okay, so initiator. And the learners plan their own learning programs. Learners plan their own learning program and the following terms. Programs, and thus ultimately assume responsibility for what they do in the classrooms. Learners monitor and evaluate their own progress. Learners are members of a group and learn by interacting with others. Learners tutor other learners. Okay, and learners learn from the teacher and from the other students, and from other teaching sources as well. You can say, sir has given us a book, okay. I have no time to go to the book, okay. I have got the book, one book, oh, that's okay for me. I will be doing, mashallah, very good with following this one book. Okay, but some learners will not be happy with the speeches or the lectures of the teachers. They will try to purchase 3 or 4 books, other online sources, other YouTube materials. Suppose I am delivering a speech over there. Just pay approach and methods in English and speech. You will have this several million videos over here. Don't go over there. Just try to watch the first 3 hits. First 3 hits means if you put YouTube the title, then means 1, 2, 3 or 4 or 5, 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So if you watch 3 video consisting 10 minutes, then means you have to give 30 minutes. If you can allow your time in such a way, then your language learning will be okay. So these are the learners' role, teachers' role. Teachers, of course, we know this. You can say, oh, there is nothing to say that teachers' role. We know that teachers will be delivering lectures like that. We will be hearing. Sometimes we feel sleepy. Okay, so this is the teacher's role. In case of language learning, in case of some method, teacher is the main one. just like GTM, grammar translation method. GTM will be providing lectures one after another, teachers will be, and less interaction in the class, but in some other way, suggestive area, their teachers will be less active. Teacher will be out of the circle. However, teacher will be playing the role of initiator and the guide. Okay, that would be the teacher's role. But teacher's role is important in an approach or method relating to the teachers, the type of functions teachers are expected to fulfill, whether that of the practice director, counselor, model. Teacher's role, director, counselor or model of language learning process. The degree of control the teacher has over how listening takes place. Okay, look here. I am speaking over there. Sometimes I'm going over there. Sometimes I'm going over here. What does it mean? And sometimes I'm making eye contact to someone else. Why? This is the control, so that they started talking 2 times. I browbeat them. Browbeat them means I look at them in such a way and they stop talking. This is the way I control a class. Okay. Sometimes without making a sound, the teacher can. What does it mean? It means how teacher will be controlling the students and a class. So teacher will be the controller. Teacher will be the director. Teacher will be the guide. Okay. So this is where the teacher will be function. And the interactional pattern of develop between the teachers and learners, teacher will be following. In our class every time, if time permits, what do? We allow you to read a slides. Why it is? This is my pattern. I want to have my class interactive. And for this reason, some teacher will say, okay, whatever you see in the slide, write it down. So you will write down, and then after the class, they will say, okay, I will have some question to you, this and that question. So this is that teacher's approach to make you interactive in that class. And some teacher will say, okay, have a relax and okay, make a group who is sitting at the side of it. You can talk to yourself about the issues. If you can understand anything, and if you can't understand, let me know. This is that teacher's approach to make you. So whatever may be the way, teachers will be the controller, teachers will be the guide, teacher will be the model of every language learning approach and the role of instruction materials. It needs not to be discussed more earlier. We know that the role, what will be the effective way of teaching language learning phenomena, we know. Okay. So the instruction would be up to date, day to day. Actually, if you pick the materials from that is very old materials, then that cannot serve you the very different way. But you have to use the materials that is up to date. Once upon a time, we didn't allow any students to come to the class without book, because at that time we didn't have Google. You have to do it. But now I say, okay, you can have online book or hard copy, whatever may be, because there is an availability. When I was a student, okay, I gave to my friends, give 200 Dhaka, oh please give to that book corner and get this book to me. Because there was no position that I will be getting the soft copy of the book. So at that time that was impossible, and so we applied that. But here we have availability of our source. How you will be getting the reading materials, it's up to you. Just we can say that yes, download this, download this and read this and try to get this. These are the instruction and the reading materials. Materials will focus on the communicative abilities of interpretation, expression and negotiation. Whatever may be your source, instruction. So the instruction, role of instructive materials will be that they will be ability of interpretation, expression and negotiation. Materials will focus on understandable. Okay, what you will read, that you have to understand. Relevant and interesting as well. Exchanges of information rather than on the presentation of grammatical forms. Okay, so that should be relevant, and that should carry out, or that should fulfill your requirements. And that would be the instruction. And materials will involve different kinds of text and different media which the learner can use to develop their competence through a variety of different activities and tasks. Okay, so by comparison, the role of instructor materials within an individual instructional system might include the following specification. Materials will allow learners to progress at their own rate of learning. So if we select the materials in a good way, that will help the learners to learn the language or learn the target things quite well. And materials will allow the different styles of learnings. Okay, and also materials will provide opportunities for independent study and usage. Okay, so you can do it with the help of your materials, and you will be following the procedures. So understanding that after getting the idea of approach and methods, we started in such a way that every language will have several views: structural view, grammatical view, functional view, and interactional view. But after 1980 decades, at the time we see that interactive perspectives of a language that increased, and that interactive perspectives increased, and at that time many linguists offer many approach and methods. So approach and methods, whatever may be the situation, approach and methods should be linked to several strategy that are the design, syllabus, role of learners, role of teachers, and the role of instructional materials. So everything in an approach where we will get all kinds of things of language learning phenomena, that can be called a good approach, and that can be called an effective approach. Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, actually that is the older version, but Mustang is added over there.